Hey everybody, welcome back to another round of Canje Plays as we begin the first day of Chapter 2 of Klik's Madness. But I want to run through some stuff. We will play through today, don't worry, it's not going to be another one of the intro videos. I know you want to see some gameplay, but we got to talk about a few things. So this location here is what's called the Shrine of Seasons. I believe that is the one, yes. And so you'll need climbing gear to get there, but we've already gotten it. And the group may gain the blessing of the sun if they camp here. So if you camp here, you get a blessing, and that will be the blessing of the sun that you can use going forward. The blessing of the sun heals 2 lost health and energy before the movement phase of each game turn. This blessing also stacks with camping gear or other similar effects. So it would give me every day once I have that blessing with the camping gear, I would heal 3 health and 3 energy when I move it. But I have to camp there to gain that blessing to build it out, which is a pretty good deal. These other 2 cities here, Fane Hill and Restwind Dale, have normal city rules that we're going to deal with. Remember that small hamlet in the story that we read? That's Westacre. So this is the small hamlet, so a likely place to rest your feet after a long day's travel, if that's what we're going to do. We'll talk about the Goblin Lair itself. This activates a little differently. Right now, during the villain phase, it's not going to do anything, but as soon as we touch any part of this of this tile C, then that will initiate, and going forward from the villain phase, we will be spawning outriders and having to deal with it. Now, if we engage an outrider group, we'll have to take on a goblin mage and a goblin wolf rider for each one of the outrider groups that we have. You've seen the quest tokens that's been laid out before. The thing about the quest tokens that I find is sometimes I missed this on one of my last playthroughs, but I'm making sure that I'm improving and getting better going forward. Each quest has you still roll on the circumstance table before resolving the quest, so we could get into a fight. Many different things that can happen to us before we do it. So it's when we camp on the quest token, we will roll on the circumstance table, deal with whatever that outcome is, then read the passage for the quest going forward. So with that in mind, we can go ahead and get started on this grand adventure. That Blessing of the Sun is way too good to pass up, and all it costs me is a day, which isn't a bad thing. I know we need to find out what's going on over here, and I'm very curious to do that, but I will probably spend a day doing the Blessing of the Sun. Also, one other thing is it said that we rested before we left. And I want to believe that that meant that we healed to full energy and full health with our rest. If not, let me know, but that's kind of how I interpreted it, and it felt more thematic that after that long, arduous trip, we were able to rest before leaving, so it puts us back. But our food is still in a weird state that we need to take care of because we're low on food. So I think for this starting of this adventure, while I would love to get that Blessing of the Sun to start, I want to go deal with this quest here. So I'm going to move cautiously, moving 1 tile here. That is going to spend advance 1 per 2 hex rounded up. And so we'll lose 1, which is here. Oh, that would have been a good one to have. And then we have to deal with that specific quest. But before we do, also remember that we need to check this. So when we move cautiously, we don't need to roll Navigate, but we still need to roll Explore and Survival. And since we upgraded, we need a 3 or lower or a 2 or lower to see what we're going to find. So we'll roll these twice, see what we come up with. So let's get ourselves to rolling and see how well we do. We've got a hex on that one and a 10, which is horrible, but we get to reroll this. This one we don't because you're not going to get better than that. And this puts us in an 8. So we are going to consume 2 food, but we did get this wonderful thing. So we will consume 2 food going down to 2. Super bad. Super bad. And then we got a critical on Explore, and it says if you critically succeed, they find 1 goal and hero heals 1 health or 1 energy. So at this point we just found 1 gold because we're at full health or energy. Then we go to, it would be the event, circumstance and event phase. For this event though, it says roll a circumstance and then deal with the event for what we're dealing with. So we will roll our lovely on the circumstance table, see what we get. We rolled an 8. Let's see what an 8 does. On an 8, we'll face a ghoul. The long-dead creature stumbles forward, lashing out at you with clawed daggers. The ghoul is a level 3 with 14 health, 10 energy, will give 6 gold. It's undead, which is not our favorite foe, and it's going to do some fun stuff to us. So we set it with 14 health and 10 energy respectively as we're doing that. And then we'll determine what we're going to do. Well, I'm going to do Reflective Assault, of course. I mean, what better time to do it than I'm blocking 11? So that'll take 2 energy to do it, and I'm doing Reflected Assault to block 7 and deal back whatever they have as piercing. Well, let's see what they are going to do on their turn. A 1. They're dealing 6 energy. If one target runs out, both suffer 3 health damage and the ghoul heals 10 health. Well, it's 6 energy, I block 11. And that 6 is going right back to his face as piercing damage. Isn't it grand? Isn't it grand? And the original amount is reflected back against your attacker as piercing damage. So that's going to be 6 health off him. I'm taking no damage. So that'll be -6, putting him to 8 health for what he just did. I hope he enjoys what he just did. Then I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do it. I'm going to have him kill himself. So spend 2 to do Reflective Assault one more time. Let's see what he's going to do. A 3. And on a 3, group 5 health, heroes who suffer damage become diseased. I don't. I block 11, and I deal 5 right back to him. Yay! This is the greatest build ever. So I will deal 5 to him, taking him down to 3 health, which is fantastic, and he's going to use 4 energy to do that, taking him down to 6 energy. Cool. Well, let's finish this guy off, shall we? With take it from 10 to 8 for another reflective attack. Alright, what's he gonna do? 1, 6 energy damage. Nope! And he's dead. Yay! He's gonna give us 6 gold, which is great. So he will take his -6 to -3, and he is wiped out. And we will get 6 gold from him, taking us to 7 gold, which is fantastic. We don't have to worry about him anymore. Let's just wipe that out. And that is going to be in the circumstance. Let's go ahead and read the story for what happens next. On your way down the mountain, you discover a worn and winding trail. You hike a short way to get a better view of the area and find a tower resting quietly on a nearby ridge. Not only have you made good time, but the short journey has kept your senses sharp. It is easy to see why some of the Dragonsport refugees would rather find shelter here than endure the long trek up the mountain. The stone spires rises several stories high and is easily visible from this distance. A small plume of smoke rises from a solitary chimney, indicating some activity inside. You doubt that any people who took refuge here will want to leave, but at least they should know that those from the shrine are concerned about their welfare. Restore 1. Replace the quest token on this location with a hex tile. And hex tiles mean that it has already been discovered and it's done. So we will restore 1. And then we will remove this and replace it with a hex tile, knowing that we've already completed that specific quest. If you have the Ancient Scepter, you must read 2078. I do not. All heroes choose to roll either Navigate or Explore. A critical success counts as a success for all heroes rolling that stat. If at least half of the group succeeds, read 2086, otherwise read 2144. Well, Navigate is my highest stat, so I'm gonna roll Navigate. So we'll roll our Navigate, see how we do. We rolled a 2, that'll work, we are successful. As you approach the only visible entrance to the tower, you see the vestiges of a forgotten and unused garden nearby. Its air of disuse seems entirely unexpected in this otherwise serene setting. There are several footprints in this area, small in stature, along with lupine paw prints. It appears that goblin scouts have been here, but perhaps not recently. Your curiosity forces you to investigate the garden, where the footprints are more numerous. You are startled by what you discover. Amid the remnants of a rotten and forgotten composting heap, you see the grotesque remains of what once were animals. It is difficult to tell the exact species, as most of their flesh and fur have been burned away. While the sight is disturbing, it's not too surprising to see the remains of animal carcasses being used as compost. You doubt that the Dragonsport refugees could have created this much waste in such a short time, however. Clearly, someone else must have been residing in the tower prior to all the recent chaos. If those obstinate monks have bothered to leave their shrine, they could have told you. You find a small pouch amidst the refuse. one hero gains a handy elixir. Handy elixirs have regen. Regen 3 health and 3 energy for 3 combat rounds, or heal 6 health and 6 energy outside of combat. We will gain our lovely handy elixir. And we're good. Then, to your shocked surprise, you spy a piece of bloodied cloth amidst the animal bones. And not just one piece, but many, of different sizes. You come to the horrifying conclusion that not all the corpses in this pile belong to animals. What kind of horrible creature could do such a thing? Past the garden, you see the wooden doorway to the tower and wonder what may be waiting on the other side. Whatever or whoever resides in the tower is clearly not to be trifled with. If I had Divine One, Necromancer, Priest, or Shaman, if you investigate the bone pile further, I would be able to get this moment, but I do not. The wooden doorway to this ancient tower is plain and unassuming. It also appears to be the only way in, as the rounded wall is devoid of any windows or other entrances of any kind. Although you must crane your neck here to see it, the smoke billowing from the chimney indicates that at least someone must be residing inside. If I had Shaman, Wilder, Dryad, Pixie, Feykind, or Elemental, I would have another moment. I am none of those. I'm an angel-born guardian and Tenomorph with Stubborn. So I'm none of those. My options become, if you knock on the front door, read 2130. If you open the front door, read 2013. If you barge in through front door, read 2251. If you leave the tower without entering, reread this entry the next time you return to this hex. This event is now complete. We're going to open the front door. If we barge in, we might barge into a trap. Knocking seems weird, announcing yourself, so let's just open the front door and see what we find at 2013. You push open the unlocked wooden door and let yourself inside. The base of the tower is generally clean. It appears to have all the amenities of a quaint home, including a pot of stew lightly bubbling over a fire pit, and a pile of old clothes laying in one corner. You absent-mindedly glance at the clothes and notice that some of them are stained with blood. You then hear some shuffling above you, and an elderly female voice calls out, "You've brought more of your wretched friends with you, have you?" A wizened lady in a plain brown robe steps down swiftly from the top of the stairs, her arms wide spread as if ready to strike. She looks at you all with a startled expression, and then after a moment her demeanor relaxes. She shoves a green jeweled amulet into her robes and continues down the stairs, a bit slower than before. "You scared the daylights right out of me. It's not right to go around breaking into an old woman's home. I thought you may have been more of those ruffians from the port. They tried to ransack my home and rob me. Can you believe it? Well, I showed them that I still have a trick or two up the old sleeves, and scared them right off, right and well. You don't look to be the same sort, or else I'd have you too, you know. Now, how about I fix you up a bowl of rabbit stew, and you tell me what I can do for you?" No. If you graciously accept the meal, read 2074. Yeah, no. I decline the meal, read 2029. No. You decline the old woman's kind offer, and her demeanor changes almost instantly. "You think you're so smart." The old woman suddenly spits on the kitchen floor, her outstretched fingers tightening into claws, and her wrinkled face pulls back into a hideous sneer. "Trying to steal an old woman's things? You're no different than the rest of them. First those wretched fools from the port, and now you? The only thing you find here are your graves." The old woman cackles and rushes forward with the speed and agility that belies her age. Face a dangerous hag. During the declaration phase of each round of combat, she summons a lesser water elemental into combat with her. If you vanquish them, restore 2, then read 2045. If you flee, read 2294. We don't run from battle. Now, when we're dealing with multiple opponents, we fight them both at the same time. So the hag herself, she has 12 health and 12 energy. She'll give us 6 gold, and she will do something on her turn for what we need to fight. Whereas during the declaration phase, she will summon a lesser water elemental fighting with her that has 6 health and 8 energy. Now, it says during each declaration phase, she will summon a lesser water elemental to fight with her. To me, that could become massively overwhelming on a single player mode. So instead, what I'll do is if one is dead, she will summon it again during the declaration phase. Otherwise, I could end up fighting. I can't output enough damage to kill one in a single turn. Maybe if I was playing 2-player, I could, but I cannot here, and I don't have abilities that let me kind of deal damage to everyone. Reflective Assault protects me, but it doesn't deal damage to everyone where it goes out, and that becomes even more troublesome. So my thought on this is I'm going to keep it as she will just summon a lesser water elemental to help her every single time there is not one or one's been defeated. So killing her is the goal. The lesser water elemental is just there to harry us some more. So it has 6 health and 8 energy, and will give 4 gold once defeated. The hag is going to have 12 health and 12 energy, and the lesser water elemental will have 6 health and 8 energy respectively. I should do 12 here and 8 over here, so it kind of aligns and makes sense. Now she summons that during the declaration phase, a level 1 when she's level 3. I, of course, am going to drink a potion, but that doesn't take effect until after things kick off. Actually, instead of doing a potion, I'm going to down the handy elixir. So I'm going to down the handy elixir, drink that, and I believe the handy elixir, it says regen 3 health and 3 energy for 3 combat rounds. Now, according to regen happens at the beginning of the declaration phase. So this will put me at 11 for this round, and I have 3 rounds left with it, so let's just make a counter for us where we're going to say regen set to 2, right? So this is 3, it's now set to 2 for what we need to do. Then I'm going to do Reflected Assault for sure, taking us from 11 to 9 to reflect 11 and deal with what's coming. So let's roll and see what these two are going to do to us. The hag is going to roll her die, and she rolls a 2, and on a 2, she will do single 4 health. The target becomes poisoned. Awesome sauce. Poison says, poison heroes lose 1 health at the beginning of the declaration phase of each round of combat and at the beginning of each movement phase. They must also roll and succeed on the survival roll in order to use energy. If you succeed on any 3 rolls, remove the condition from yourself. So I'm assuming it doesn't say if they take damage, because that usually says what happens, right? So I'll block 4, put it back on her, but I will become poisoned because it just says the target becomes poisoned. I don't know if this is once again one of those ones where old card versus new card, because some say if you take any damage, so I'm just going to play it as I become poisoned, and that sucks. Alright, so I block her 4, and she gets hit back for 4, taking her to 8. And I believe that doesn't use anything she has, and she is a monstrous humanoid, so she is not my favorite foe, but the lesser water elemental is a spirit, which is my favorite foe. So she will take 4 damage doing that. I block all the damage, but I become poisoned, which is not fantastic. The lesser water elemental will attack with a hex. Oh boy. Single target. The target is engulfed by the elemental and suffers half the damage the elemental suffers this round. So none, because I blocked it all. If it would have hit him, the favorite foe thing would have triggered. But yikes. So nothing happens. I become engulfed and nothing happens. Which is crazy cakes. Okay, so start of the round, because I'm poisoned, I will lose a health, going down to 9. But then my regen kicks in, which will put this at 1, which will put me back up by 3 and 3. So I think this takes me to 12, and this takes me back to full health. So the regen kind of came on time. Then we need to roll, because I want to use Reflected Assault, and I need to see if I can use Reflected Assault. So we'll roll the survival die on a skill test to see how we do. We rolled a 7, and I believe we get to roll twice on skill checks. And a 10, even worse. So none of that for me. I did fail a skill test during this is during the event phase. This is the event phase. So I will get another tick on there for failing during the event phase. And I cannot use energy this time, so this time I gotta go... Oh, I'm gonna take some damage. I'm going to do the tower shield, spending... Oh, I can't spend any energy at all this round because I'm poisoned. Yuck. I could try to use the luck stone to see if I can, and maybe that might work. Nope. It can't. The luck stones can only be used to re-roll one die outside of combat, to alter the result of a rolled circumstance by 1, or to increase a restore amount by 1. Only 1 can be used per day, so it's not going to help me. And the Mystic Tonic itself, it will... Ooh, that negates all conditions! Yes, yes, yes. Let's use our Mystic Tonic. Let's use our Mystic Tonic, and we have to wait until after this round to do it. So I'm about to take some heavy damage. I probably might die here. We will see, because not being able to block, I think I'm gonna just hit her for 5. I'm gonna cleave at her for 5 and hope to God she doesn't do something monstrous to me, because it could straight up kill me. So let's see what happens. Okay, please, come on. 2. Okay, so she is a single target 4. I become poisoned. I'm already poisoned, can't get poisoned twice. She's going to hit me for 4, and I'm going to hit her for 5. So the witch is going to get hit for 5, going down to 3, and I'm going to get hit for 4. Yikes. Going down to 6. And then that's my target for this attack, so the elemental is going to do stuff to me. Alright, what's it going to do? A 5. The same thing. It's going to... The target is engulfed by elemental and suffers half the damage the elemental suffered this round, which is nothing. So, half of nothing is nothing. Then, finally, at the end of the round, I use my Mystic Tonic, which gets rid of poisoned. Then, at the beginning of the declaration phase, I regen, which takes me to 9 and 13, and I believe the Mystic Tonic... Oh, it says or, so it's either heal or. Cool, I'm no longer poisoned, and I am going to use 2 to Reflective Assault. Hit me with your best shot, lady. You are dead. But the elemental's still there, and we still do have to take care of it, so let's deal with her. So I will go from... and to, I believe that's 8 that was there, and he'll just take 1, going down to 5. Alright. Then we do... I'm poisoned, so I'll go down to 7. And we will hit him for a full cleave. I'm not rolling for that. We're just going for the straight cleave and the kill. So let's do that. Let's see what he's going to do. A 5. Awesome. So the target is engulfed by the elemental and suffers half the damage elemental suffers this round. Well, the elemental's taking 5. And I will take half of 5 rounded up, which is 3. So the elemental is defeated. And I take 3 damage, going to 4 health. Oh my god. And I'm poisoned. Great. Okay, that completes that. They are both defeated, and we get the rewards from both of them. So we're going to get 10 gold, going to 17. No food, again, and we'll continue on with the story. Okay, it says if you vanquish them, restore 2, then read 2045. We are going to restore 2 on here, and then we're going to go to the next side of the story. There's an eerie silence in the stone tower now. The hag lies defeated at your feet at long last. Although you were unable to stop this thing from harming the refugees who fled to the tower, you were able to stop her from harming any more travelers to the shrine. A cursory look at the tower confirms that the creature was the only thing living here. You also discover a small cache of valuable items she had procured, likely from other unfortunate souls. The real treasure, however, is the rare and beautiful amulet that you removed from her neck. Perhaps this trip was worthwhile after all. The group gains climbing gear if you don't have it already, and one hero gains a Dryad's amulet. Each hero may draw a power-up card. Additionally, each hero rolls the hex die to determine the magical item they found in the tower. Oh, we're gonna hope we roll high. So let's see what we roll. A 2. And we found a Spectral Tonic. Cool. Spectral Tonic it is. Spectral Tonic. Starting next combat round, you become incorporeal. While the effect persists, you are untargetable by individual target attacks, but group attacks still affect you. At the end of each round in which you are incorporeal, roll a d6. If you roll a hex, the effect persists 1 additional round. Enhanced Spectral Tonics last for 3 rounds instead of 1. So, not bad. We got a Spectral Tonic. And we also have the Dryad's Amulet. I couldn't find anything specific, so I'm assuming it's an item, so we'll add it to our stock, saying that we have the Dryad's Amulet, which we do. So now that has been added to our stock. Also, I was supposed to add Betrayer in the initial intro, which I didn't, but I did just now for this one. And since these have been defeated, we'll just empty all that off, not having to deal with it ever again. Then we're going to upgrade. We're going to draw an upgrade and see what we get. +1 to our first mastery. Okay, so we'll take that, taking this to a 4, and taking this to a 2. So not bad, not bad. Okay, that ends the event phase. That was an event to behold. Dealing with this hag and this water elemental, which was fun indeed. But we need to do the villain phase, so we're going to advance 1 and end the day. So we're going to end the day. Oh, why couldn't I get this? Pick 2 of any skill. That would have been great, but no, I got the thing I don't use. It's my luck. And that will end the day. So then we go to the sunrise phase where we camped, and when we camp, because of the camping gear, we get +1 to both. That's for the camping gear. And for poison, at the beginning of declaration of each round, you deal it. It's also when we roll, at the beginning of each movement phase, we lose a health. So the camping kind of negated the poison effect for a little bit. And we are going to then move for our next day of the sunrise phase. We're going to move cautiously to move here and camp on here to get the blessing of the sun. So we don't need to roll navigate, but we still need to roll for this, and we're running out of food really, really fast. I think it's taking 3 times food is brutal, so those are awful fails. Oop, drop that die. That, I don't find anything. And, yep, I'm going to consume my last 2 food. I am out of food as I land at this location. Now I'm at a shrine. I could take use of the shrine that's here. I'm going to spend 1 gold to get rid of poison, because a comfy bed will negate. It will, a hero may rest in the infirmary to heal all lost health and energy and negate all going conditions. So let's do that. Let's go back and get back to full, get rid of that nonsense. And then I believe there's certain things we can buy and certain things we can't. Let me recall. Okay, thank God the shrine can sell rations. I had to verify because I was like, I'm going to die. So I'm going to buy rations like you won't believe. As it says, the monks are busy handling refugees from Dragon's Port. Heroes may not access locked abilities in this shrine until you have either a specific key. The shrine can only sell rations, but offers services normally. So a comfy bed is a service, but the only thing I can buy is rations, which, yeah, let's go down to 6 gold. Oh my gosh, I was scared for a minute. I was really nervous for a minute as we built that up. So we spent the 10 gold, we got that. Out of all that, we got a Dryad's Amulet, and we were able to move on. So that was the event phase. There's really nothing much else for us to do because we don't have, we have Tiama's Cane, but that's the only thing that we could deal with right now until we get some other things. So we will continue on to our next day, where we can do a 1, 2, 3, 4, and see if we can move normally to move up to 4 hexes, losing 2 time to get to that next secret that's over there, which I'm really thrilled for. We're being adventurous right now. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4 to land on this question mark that's here. Now, do we wander? Let's find out. So we're going to roll these 3 twice and see what we get. We do not wander, so that is one good thing. I'll still re-roll to see if we explode on it. So we'll keep the 3. We don't wander. We still consume food, and we don't find any gold. Don't wander is the big thing. So we still consume 2 food, going down to 8, and we don't find any gold, which is what's there. So That's what we've got so far. And we need to spend, I believe, it's 2 per hex, so we'll lose 2. Lose 2 of these. Of course, it's things I need, because that's how the game plays me. And then we have to deal with that. Remember, we got to roll on the circumstance, and then we deal with it. And this looks like some form of ruin hex, but it's not by water, so we'll see what happens. Let's roll and see what we're dealing with. We rolled an 8. It's the same freaking thing we fought last time, which is a ghoul. Nothing new. So as you can see, an 8's a ghoul. More ghouls. The ghoul will have 14 health, 10 energy, give me 6 gold, and we'll see what it does. So the ghoul will have 14 health, 10 energy. I'm going to spend my 2 to reflected assault on it, which is fantastic, and we'll go from there. What is the ghoul going to do? It's going to do a 3. So it's going to say group 5 health, heroes who suffer damage become diseased. Well, it don't. I block 5, and I hit you back for 5 piercing. So I block all that damage. I hit you back for 5 piercing, which is great, taking you down to 9 health. And that used 4 of your energy, so you will go to 6. Do that a couple more times. So next round, let's do it again. I mean, we're having fun with it, right? Let's do it again. What you got for me? A 4. Hey, you did it again. So I blocked and I hit you back for 5. Guardian's awesome. So I blocked that 5 and I hit you back for 5, taking you to 4 health. You used 4 to do that. Now you're down to 2 energy. And let's ring that bell one more time. Let's see what you do. You're dead. I'm not mad about it. So that'll hit you for 5. Minus 1, you're dead, and you would have used 4 energy, taking you -2. Too bad, so sad, you're a dead man. And you will give me 6, taking me back up to 12 gold. So I'll take all that gold from you, wiping you for my memory and the board, and dealing with the event. It said this group needed climbing gear, and we have climbing gear. So the numerous rock slides and patches of melting ice scattered across the mountain road have made your journey to the castle ruins arduous. It is no surprise that the road has received no maintenance, but during your trek you saw no sign that goblins, nor anyone really, has used this path in quite some time. When the fallen castle finally comes into view, however, you can clearly see smoke coming from somewhere within. The massive wooden double doors leading inside are cracked and splintered, but there is enough of an opening for you to carefully make your way inside. Oh god, not again. It appears that only time has ransacked the once sturdy walls of this place. If it weren't for the single plume of smoke somewhere inside, you would have guessed you were the first to set foot here in quite some time. Still, someone is here. Bandits, goblins, or worse. If you continue into the ruined castle entrance to discover the source of the fire, read 2229. If you spend some time, if you try to find a less obvious path into the cavernous castle, read 2012. If you leave the ruins for a time when you feel more prepared, read 2157. Alright, we're going to spend some time, because last time I walked through a door, I ran into a hag. I'm not feeling it. So let's try to find a less obvious way into the cavernous castle to see how this goes. So we're going to go to 2012 and spend the time. So we're going to spend another time, which is something that, yep, I could have used that. That'd have been great, but it's whatever. You carefully maneuver around the perimeter of the ruined castle, scanning for another entrance inside. It takes some time to avoid the icy rock hidden by the snow, but you soon find a path leading around the castle. It is somewhat treacherous. You must take care not to slip from the edge. All heroes roll Navigate. Those who fail suffer 4 energy damage. Heroes who critically fail suffer twice as much. Cool! Let's roll! Oh, we passed! We barely passed! Oh my gosh! I get to roll twice, though. Yeah, so we passed. We got a 5. Oh my god, I can't believe we did that. You arrive at the entrance to what used to be the servants' quarters. The door has been long since broken and been covered by snow, but you can see that the passageway into the castle appears usable. When you get closer, you notice a hastily made wooden sign has been pounded into the ground. It reads, "Goblins welcome. Meet Gustaffer." As you take a moment to consider the sign, you hear movement within the passage. Deep, slow, and shuffling. You can also hear the dragging of metal across stone. Soon, a massive grizzly squeezes his way through the doorway, a chain wrapped around one hind leg. It stands at the entrance and rears up, roaring a challenge. Cool! I am none of those things, so let's see what happens. Face a dangerous grizzly. If you flee, read 2157. If you vanquish it, gain double the rewards, then read 2212. Alright, something interesting that I noticed. The hag was dangerous as well, and I didn't do that properly. She was supposed to have 5 additional health, and she dealt +1 damage to whatever she had. So 5 vitals. It says 5 vitals per hero, so it's 5 health and 5 energy to build out. So let's play this bear properly. Crying. So this bear, who would normally have 16 health and 16 energy, now will have 21 health and 21 energy. If I'm able to beat it, I will gain 6 food and 10 gold. Oh boy. And it deals +1 damage, so we'll keep that in mind. So this bear is going to have 21 health and 21 energy. Now, I didn't do that with the hag, but I probably would have still beat her, right? So we are going to use a potion. We're going to down 1 potion. And I believe the potion happens after everything happens. So we're going to spend our... We're gonna try to live through this by reflective assault alone. Alright, let's see what this bear is going to do. So we're going to roll. The bear's going to do a 2. And a 2 says group health, 4 health, block 6. Well, my attacks are piercing. So I don't care about your block. Right? I don't care how that makes you feel because mine is piercing. However, I will block your 4 and hit you back with it. So, -4. Yay, that'll take you to 17 health. And I don't think you use any energy for that. So then at the end of the round, the potion kicks in and the potion heals us for 3 health and 3 energy, taking me back to 9. Then we will start anew. Going to 7 to do that reflective assault again. We will block with our shield until we're dead. Alright, what you got? What you rolling? You're rolling a 2, so you're going to do the same thing and take another 4 damage. So we will block. You will take 4 going down to the 13. And we don't take any damage because we blocked 11. Let's do this one more again. Taking you to 5, and let's see what happens. Let's roll and go for big money. A 3. So a 3 says triple 5 health and survival. Heroes who fail are wounded. So triple 5 health damage. I'm assuming that's triple attack. Let me check that verbiage. Okay, this is considered triple target damage. But since it's just me for 5. Block it, hit him back for 5. I need to roll for survival to see if I become wounded, and he will spend 3 energy on that. So first, he gets hit for 5, right? Which is great. Which will take him to 8 health. He used, I believe that was 3 energy to do this, which will take him to 18. And then I need to roll survival to see if I become wounded. Well, here we go. That's a 4, and we roll twice. That's a 3, which passes. So that's a skill test. I did not fail, so we're good. Then we will use another potion, going down to 1. And we will spend 2 energy, going down to 3, to do another reflective assault on him. Oh, I almost forgot. He does +1 damage. So these damages should have compounded. I forgot that. He does +1 damage. So this should have been 5, which would have taken him to 7. Then this would have been 5, which takes him to 6. And then this would have been 6, which would have... Yeah, because it was 5, 5, so that's 10, and 6, 16. So that would have been 16 minus 21, which would have taken him down to 5 health. Alright, we're working on it, we're moving slowly, so we get it right. Alright, let's see what Senor Grizzly's going to do. He's going to do 6 damage and another survival test. So that's enough to kill him, but we still need to do the survival test. So that's 6 damage. Which would kill him, and I believe he would have used 3 of this, which would have taken him to 15. It doesn't matter, though, he's dead. We did kill him, and I believe it says if we vanquish him, we gain double the rewards, then we read on to the story, but we still need to do our test for wounded. So let's roll and see what we do. Rolled a 2, we're fine. But we got to roll again for the hex, so we rolled a 2, we're good. The Grizzly's defeated, and he gives us double the reward, so he would give us 10 gold, taking us to 22, and 6 food, which will put us back up to the top, which is fantastic. Then we will make way like this Grizzly never existed. Because it does. It isn't. He's dead. Finding a pathway through the rubble of the fallen castle becomes easier the deeper into the ruin you go. You begin to see telltale signs of habitation. Passageways are cleared of debris, there are towers of wooden crates and sacks used for storage, and torches are lit. You eventually make your way into a massive central chamber, what you imagine was the feasting halls when the castle was in its prime. It is filled with all manner of household amenities such as a bed, kitchen, and chairs. There's also more cluttered junk here than you have ever seen in your life. The expansive room is brightly lit with more torches than you have seen so far, and as you inspect them more carefully, they do not appear to be regular torches. You cautiously move to touch one, and it springs to life, sprouting spider-like legs and skittering across the remains of the small stone wall before it disappears over a broken ledge. It's a machine? A loud explosion and clatter of metal echoes as the opposite end of the room, issuing a puff of gray smoke through the open doorway. A small figure emerges from the cloud, waving a hand in front of his face and coughing loudly as he steps forth. You instantly recognize the little man as a gnome, and judging by his greasy apron and goggles upon his head, a tinkerer. He looks up to you in surprise, silently gauges your intentions, and then suddenly animates again. He wanders over to clear some clutter from a table and a few surrounding chairs. "Well, look at you all, braving the wild and the wind to come in and say hi. You must have had a hard time getting in here. But that's what you get for coming uninvited into a person's home. I didn't even need protection until a few months ago when those goblins started rooting about. Came right up through the caves in the cellar, fast as you could blink. The rodents probably thought I had something useful. And they were right. If you have heavy locked chest, read that. Otherwise, read 2095. The gnome excuses himself for a moment and lugs a hot metal pot onto the newly cleared table. He presses a button, suddenly the outside of the pot folds out into metallic cups, while a spigot pops out of the top and starts pouring what you hope is tea. There should be enough here for all of us. You're the first visitors I've had in quite some time, you know. The goblin's been an exception. It's incredible how much work I was able to get done up here alone and away from all the noise of the city. Yes, very efficient. But now, I don't know. My traders told me the goblins have been organizing lately. Didn't believe it myself until they came up right under my feet. They're also, it's hard to describe. There's a darkness in the air now. Of death. The gnome trails off for a moment and then shakes himself out of his thoughts, a wide grin pushing up his white mustache. Bah! That's what I get for living in a ruined castle, am I right? Anyway, I know your type. You've got that adventurer look about you. Heading out to save the world or just fight some rats in the cellar. Either way, old Bizzlecorp can help you out. I am not a tinkerer trap specialist or automaton. If you have Avaricious or Hidden Hoard, read this. Otherwise, when you are ready to leave, read 2142. So, I mean, there's nothing else for me to do here, so I don't have either one of these. So let's go to 2142. You look around for your gnomish friend to notify him that you're ready to depart, but he hasn't yet returned after excusing himself a few minutes earlier. You follow the sounds of distant hammering and soon find yourself in what you assume was once the servants' quarters of the castle, now converted into Bizzlequark's workshop. Most of the space has retained its ceiling, but at the far end of the room, exposed to the cool sky above, is a massive machine resembling some sort of transport. On either side of a wide main cabin are two enormous cloth wings. Everything is propped up on stilts and ladders, including the little gnome who is elbow deep in a joint of one of the wings. He notices you enter but holds up a hand for you to stop before continuing his work. A moment later, he gleefully reveals some mechanism in his hand, then hops down a wooden ladder and tosses the part on a clutter table, sending 2 or 3 other items clattering down to the stone floor. You apologize for the intrusion and inform him that you need to be on your way. Oh, of course. Sorry, something you said made me realize that the weight distribution in the flap joints may have been... Oh, but you don't need to know about that. I'll finish this other ornithorcopter one day, I'm sure. Maybe balloons would be better. Yes, a dirigible, I'll call it. Anyway, it was stewing in the pot for a while, but with the goblins moving through the valley, it might be important for me to be mobile as well. Now, you said that you were heading out. I'm afraid I don't catch exactly what you're doing out here in the first place. Replace the quest token in this location with Bizzlequark's token. You may interact with and purchase item from Bizzlequark here. Alright, so we are going to replace this with Bizzlequark's token, and that's where his shop is. If you tell Bizzlequark you are going to Fane Hill, read 2176. If you tell Bizzlequark you are trying to find a way to stop the goblins, read 2314. If you prefer to keep your business to yourself, read 2007. We're going to tell him that we are going to Fane Hill, which is where we were headed in the first place. Trying to get to Fane Hill in a hurry, Well, I know for a fact that my traders zip back and forth between the smaller outposts here and the city fast as storm wolves. They use this old pass north of the city. In fact, I think I have a map of it's here somewhere. If you have not already gained Fane Hill region map, read 2102. Then return here and read 2007. You unfurl the rolled up parchment and immediately recognize the area surrounding Fane Hill. Most of it is familiar, however, just to the north of the Elven City, you see an unfamiliar marking. It appears to be an old shepherd's thoroughfare granting safe passage through the northern plains. Gain the Fane Hill region map, retrieve the 4-hex tile shown below and place it on the map as indicated. Return to the previous entry. So we gain the Fane Hill region map, and that goes here, giving us a little bit of a shorter passage to where we need to go. So it fits right there perfectly. And we can probably get to Fane Hill really quickly here before that madness starts. The little gnome walks you back to the main chamber of his home as he bids you farewell. Although you snuck in uninvited, I can't say that I haven't enjoyed your little visit. It was nice to put some of my skills to use again. In fact, feel free to come on by whenever you are in the area. Might not be sticking around for too much longer, but I'll help you out if you're crazy enough to climb out these mountains again. Oh, wait, I nearly forgot. While you're here, there's something else I could help you with, too. Bizzlecork whips off a dusty cloth from a machine in one corner of the room. I call it my summoning projector. An original design I made for this centaur down in the forest to the south. I guess he just wanted to keep his skills up now that there were no wars to be fighting in. He's got the original, but this is my prototype. Just as good. You just hit this button here to turn it on and use these dials to create nearly any enemy that you can think of. The image for it will come right out of here. Perfect for practice and training. Each hero may train with this unique device once. Advance 2 for each hero who does so. Participating hero rolls 2 core dice and suffers the resulting sum of energy drain. Each die hexplodes on a result of a hex and 2. If you survive the event, gain favorite opponent against a new favorite opponent of your choice. Ooh. If you would die from this damage, you instead revive with 1 health remaining. Oh, we're so doing this. So we need to advance 2. So just grab 2. I don't even want to look. It's going to make me sad. And then we're going to roll then we're going to roll 2 core dice and suffer the resulting sum of energy drain. Ooh, this is going to hurt. All right, let's see what we're dealing with. We got a 3 and a 10, so that'll be 13. Ooh, this is a skill check, isn't it? So we get to roll twice. A 10 would be bad because that would kill me. That would straight out kill me because that's all the health I have left. So I think let's roll again and see what we're dealing with. Okay, that's better. A 3 and a 6 is better. So that's 9 that we're going to be dealing with. That's going to hurt, but we live. So 3 and then 6, taking us down to 4 energy. So we live, and we get to name a new favorite foe that we're going to have for our enemies here. And our new favorite foe is going to be humanoid. Humanoid is our new favorite foe that we're at. So we're spirit and humanoid we're dealing with, because a lot of the goblins are humanoid that we're going to be dealing with, and favorite foe will be fantastic to deal that extra damage to them when we hit them. The gnome continues. So anyway, like I said, you're welcome here at any time. Gain Crackpot. So we gain the Crackpot, as you can see here at the bottom. Replace the quest token in this location with Bizzlecork's token if it isn't already. You may interact with and purchase items from Bizzlecork's here. You may also camp here next game turn to access a locked ability as if it were a shrine. This event is now complete. Wow, that was a lot that just happened. That was a lot that just happened. So we had finished day 1, so let me put the day 1 die there. And that ended the event, which will hit the villain phase, which will end day 2. And I really could have used that card too. So we'll be starting, so we would have just ended our second day. So this will be day 3 that we're going on to. Man, I need to learn how to count. Okay, so that is going to be it for this playthrough. It says that we can buy stuff from Bizzlecork here if we needed to, which is cool. He has a lot of really cool stuff that we can use. A lot of really cool stuff that we can use. And I might camp, but I need to think about what I want to buy. So we're going to stop here for this playthrough, and we'll deal with what comes next. Until then, I love you, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it.